Hi, welcome to Scale Her Up. I'm Brenda Hector, and with me today I've got Jenny Soutar and Caitlin Mackenzie of the Property Girls. Welcome, ladies.
Hello, thank you for having us.
Oh, it's brilliant to have you here. So, um, just tell us then, to start off with, what do you do as the Property Girls?
Do you want,
Caitlin?
do you want me to go? Okay. So the Property Girls are a holiday let management service. We're based in Blairgowrie, and we manage a number of holiday lets around the Perthshire area, from Brenda all the way up to Perth, servicing the corporate market and also people coming up for things like skiing and things like that. And we're basically here to help the owners of the properties with the day-to-day running of the lets. We're there if the guests need anything. We're permanent. Jenny's just a bit of permanent taxi service up and down all the different properties. But yeah, we're there to take the hassle out of having a holiday let.
Fantastic. So, how did you get into this then?
Where do we start? The story is quite a long one. After COVID, I worked in sport and fitness, had a career there, and it was no longer, just wasn't servicing my brain. So I took a big jump and went into Airbnb management with a company in Dundee. I started a cleaning business just for extra money. So I started custom cleans. Not really, I thought I'd just kind of seen the end of the holiday lets, unfortunately, but I started doing holiday let cleans. And then obviously you work closer with the landlords. And one of the landlords, his management company kept phoning me when there was things going wrong. And obviously having a background in it, I was like, this isn't my job. This is your letting agent's job. This is your, and he was like, when are you going into holiday let management? And I was like, today. So I phoned Caitlin, who is like modern day genius, aren't you, Caitlin? She is absolutely, I couldn't do Property Girls without Caitlin. My brain is not technical. So I asked her, Caitlin, will you come and be in business with me and let's see how this goes? And that's kind of how the Property Girls was born. We do complement each other quite well. So Caitlin is, I always say she's a genius. If I had Caitlin's brain, alongside mine, we'd be like, I think I would be unstoppable, but there's loads of there. I just can't work like that. But yeah, we work really well together actually. And we really enjoy it. It's hard work at times when you're on call all the time and out till 11 o'clock or whatever for things that can go wrong. But yeah, we do love it. And it's great to meet even the guests. I know we'll like work to help the landlords, but it's great to when people are coming to the area that we've lived in our whole lives. So that is how the Property Girls was born.
Yeah,
So,
and
you're
I just want to jump on the back of that and be like, I wish I had your brain. Like,
Oh,
Jenny is a social butterfly, right? This is Jenny is such a people person, and I have a total envy over that skill because I think I can be a people person for like a very set amount of time, and then I have to go home and like decompress. And like not speak to anyone. If I go to a networking event, I love it, and then I get home and I have to just sit there in silence for like a few hours and be like totally decompress. Whereas that's where your skill set totally lies.
I
Um,
love the networking.
whereas I'm numbers and computers and words.
oh,
I'm much better on paper.
they're very complementary to each other, the skill set that you bring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Definitely, we definitely fill in each other's gaps. So you're kind of get the a full kind of all skill person, but between the two of us, definitely.
So, and there's also a family connection. So, what's it like working with your sister-in-law?
Pretty easy, I would say.
I think I think that was one of the landlords, one of the things that one of our landlords had said, like, what if there's a breakdown and whatever. But I actually think it's easier that there's the family connection because you can see, I think going into business with somebody that you don't really know their personal side can be hard. Whereas we do complement each other. Life gets in the way. Caitlin's got two young kids. My kids are older, so it's not as tie-in. So it's like there's the honesty there, with all aspects of our life. And we've just clicked right from we've known each other now for like
Yeah.
8 years. So I don't think I would have jumped into taking the risk with somebody that I didn't completely know. So I would say it's easier in a lot of respects.
Yeah, I think so as well. Like, I think we've both definitely learned, like, from like when we've had to hire people, like obviously Jenny through Custom Cleans and me through Rise, like it's really difficult because you don't know what you're getting into, like you don't know what the person's going to be like. You can tell what they're like on paper and if they interview well, but actually knowing somebody personally is very different, and knowing if you're going to be able to depend on that person. And there's also like there's an invested interest from us both for it to go well. So you know you're going to get that dependability and reliability, which you might not get if you just, I don't know, brought in somebody that you maybe didn't have that connection with.
Lovely. You mentioned Rise there, actually, Caitlin. Jenny mentioned Custom Cleans, so she's got that other business. You also, with your partner, with Jenny's brother, have a business. Yeah. What does Rise do then?
So Matty and I have Rise Digital. So we are a creative agency. We do all kinds of digital marketing, everything from web design to graphic design to professional content writing to full branding packages. We do the lot. We've got quite a like our team is growing. So now we've got, I think there's 6 of us all in at the minute. So yeah, it's Rise is doing really well at the minute. It's really going from strength to strength, and it's been about 4, I think 4, maybe nearly 5 years now, but we've had Rise on the go. So that gave me a really good stead for starting the Property Girls, because I had a good bit of experience in business anyway, but also just the marketing side of it, and knowing like we managed to build our own website for the Property Girls. We managed to do our own marketing strategies, like knowing how to work all the channel managers and things like that. Like all that kind of skill set was really useful to already have. And yeah, it's been great.
And that's the skill set that I don't have. So that's how we work well.
So yeah, serial entrepreneurs, the pair of you. It's brilliant. What's your advice to someone thinking of getting into business then?
Getting into business. See, I always was like, starting your own business is hard. No, I thought that was the easy part, but the growing of it has been really difficult. And business, I think, can take, I'm probably going to go against what everybody else is saying, but businesses can take, I find, different directions. They basically choose their own. I think with Custom Cleans, I thought it was going to be domestic cleans. It's obviously got a lot bigger. But I thought, right, I'll go and do domestic cleans, but the business actually chose its own direction. So yeah, I just think don't be too rigid in your plan. Definitely have a goal, but don't be too rigid in them, and get a good coach. Obviously, Brian, that's one thing I wish I'd done right at the very start. But yeah, and how to build a business. Just learn, read, try different things, because it's hard. It's really hard. It's one of the most hardest things I've done, but I love it. I absolutely love it.
One of the most fulfilling as well, isn't it? I mean, all 3 of us business owners, it's definitely fulfilling.
Yeah.
Lots of business owners that I speak to said, I couldn't go back to a job.
No.
Do you feel like that?
Oh yeah.
It's very, like, especially for us. So we've obviously got the two young kids, which, like, having the Rise in the Property Girls meant I got to spend the young years with my kids that I would never have got in if I had worked like a conventional 9-to-5 job, and I had to get back when my kids had been 9 months old because my maternity leave was over or something like that. Like, I've had that flexibility that I can go to their school show, I can go to any meeting I need to go to. Like, I can work my work schedule around them, which is really, really freeing. And I feel like I've managed to get like such a close relationship with my kids because of that I maybe wouldn't have had if I hadn't had that freedom. Definitely.
I think sorry, I didn't catch that, Caitlin.
I said everything is planned around my kids.
It's great to be able to do that. Yeah. And you're a great role model to them. You know, I think a lot of the problem with that not enough women are starting businesses, you know, like only 1 in 3 entrepreneurs in the UK are female, because we don't see the role models. I didn't see female business owners as role models when I was growing up. So I think it's great that you're doing that there for your
I think
kids.
that's one of the things that Caitlin opened. I said this to you as well, Bren. One of the things that Caitlin opened my eyes to, like women in society. Look at Caitlin laughing.
I know what
I
you
used to be
mean.
like, oh, it's fine, it is all equal. And then just over the years, I'm like, no, you're actually right. Because Caitlin, you've definitely opened my eyes to opportunities for females and dragged me along to the women's network. And see, I am very thankful for, like, I went into BNI with my last job. And if I hadn't been going into the networking, and it was a room full of men, I think there was only one other female, but I felt like they took me under their wing and helped me start a business. And they're still a great support to me. But also on the flip side, seeing some women don't have the kind of opportunities or confidence because it is very male driven. But it's just kind of slotting in there and as well. But Caitlin, you've definitely opened my eyes to the Taylor
Yeah.
Swift, you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm opinionated, but like, I'm very much like one of those people that is like, I have my space in this room and nobody's going to take it away from me kind of thing. Like, I feel like, well, for like Rise specifically is obviously it's quite a male dominated field, like web design and that kind of thing. The marketing side of it, not so much, but definitely things like web design. And then when we first started that, like I remember over the years, like all the conversations I was having was with men, and I was like, this is quite strange. Like if I'm speaking to a developer, it's with a man, or if I'm going to meet a new client and it's always a man. And I was like, it's really eye-opening actually, to work in quite a male-dominated field and see that side of it. But I would say even in the last few years or so, I think the tides are turning on that. I definitely think there's more women that have realised it actually isn't as tiring to have your own business. There are definitely times where you have to stop and go and do things for your business, but there are absolutely positives about having the freedom to set your own schedule, make your own time for things, and work that around your kids or your home life or whatever it is that you need to work your time around. Like, it's not like back in the day when your husband would go to work at 7 a.m, you wouldn't see him again until 8 o'clock at night. Like, those days are gone. So yeah, no, it's definitely eye-opening for sure.
I guess even for a man and as a business owner, they have the flexibility to be spending time with their kids that in an employed role they wouldn't. So it helps with balance, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. I think Matty would agree with that as well. Like, he's probably really thankful for all the time that he gets to dedicate to going to the kids' stuff and things like that. Absolutely. I think that come back to you on that. I think it's good that for mums and dads.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish I'd done it sooner. When I started my business, my kids must have been 10 and 13 or 14. So yeah, we'd passed, been through a lot of the time that would have been nice to spend more with them, I think. So yeah.
See, my kids are a bit older now. My oldest is 18 and my youngest is 15. But I had that traditional outlook where, like, back then, where their dad went to work, he had his own business, different to what I've got, and I stayed at home with the kids for 6 years. So I know I was so lucky, but coming from that traditional way, and it's so old fashioned, even though it was like so long ago, that the man kind of goes out to work and then kind of getting a bit hungry for my own career when my youngest got to 4 and then went to uni, which was great. I learned a lot about myself in uni, but actually I'm so much more happier and content with what I've got now. So I think I've kind of been through all the stages of having the man go to work and then to be like, no, I'm going to make it for me. So yeah.
Into your own power. Yeah. So you said that you learned a lot about yourself at uni. What have you both learned about yourselves through your journey as business owners then?
I feel like for me, it's almost like perception. I feel like everybody, not being big-headed, right, and everybody around me sees something in me that, oh, you'll be fine, you're going to be great, you're going to make it. And there's pressure there too, but I've got so many limitations, I feel, in how I work. This is where Kayla and I work together, because I feel like she does the things that I feel like my brain can't do them. So it's silly things like I've got a cleaning business and trying to get my head to like understand the scheduling, and it's so simple and it's actually quite embarrassing at times, being like, why can't I just schedule that in? Or creating your own systems, because roles that I've had before, you go in and you can do your job well, but the hard work's done. So it's coming back to building these systems so people come in and do them. And that's the role I've always had before a business owner, that the systems have already been in place. They're at the stage of taking on staff, and you go, this is how you work it. But building that system to get to that stage it's been the biggest challenge for me, like absolutely. And I'm not saying it still is the biggest challenge for me, trying to, I feel like my brain works maybe a little bit different. It maybe doesn't, but it's just the way I'm feeling just now, different from others. So it's trying to like overcome my own perceived limitations and get processes in place so the business runs a bit smoother. And that is one, hands down, the hardest part for me. And that's obviously I've came to ActionCOACH, which is, even in the like few months I've been there, I feel like I've got the vision to get there. It's now just finding what works for me, but also going to work for other people when they come in. So that's been it for me anyway.
Fantastic. What about you, Caitlin?
I would say I've definitely learned to find my voice. Like I think, I think since I had my firstborn, like my confidence just plummeted. Which I think happens with so many mums, because you kind of lose a sense of who you are and what you like and things like that. But I definitely think I've learned to find my voice and like speak out when I don't agree with things, and assert my own place in things and how I can bring value, and that took a long time to actually have that belief that I'm like, no, I'm actually the best person for this job, like not someone else. Like I am the best. I know this better than anyone. And that took a long time to find that. And I think you grow a lot as a business owner. Like the first few years is treading water, and you'll get some really big wins and you'll get some really low lows, and there's a lot of up and down in the first few years of business. And then I think it's not until about like year 3 or 4 you're like, right, I found my stride. Now I can start growing it. For me anyway.
I
think you learn so much in those first few years.
I think for Caitlin, what I've noticed in Caitlin is, like, through your journey and watching her as a businesswoman, you've got really strong boundaries in place. So I learn a lot from that. So Caitlin's like, no, that's not in our job role. Whereas I'm maybe more of a people pleaser, being like, oh, we'll just do it anyway. And she's like, no. So it's like, so you've taught me that it is okay to say no. Obviously not just be abrupt with it, but yeah, that's not our role. So Caitlin's boundaries and watching these boundaries grow are totally inspiring, and I do try and take a lot from it. I try, Caitlin.
I think that's comes a lot from experience. It's like we've been in this situation before. We've seen how the outcome of this has happened. Let's mitigate that from happening again. And then what can we put in to make sure we don't end up in this position again? So it's something in me that's like, I am going to foreplan for this eventuality happening again so that it doesn't happen again, rather than get stuck in the moment and be like, we should have learned from this. It's definitely like, it's book noting these things that, okay, this has happened, let's make sure it doesn't happen again. So I think, I definitely I've got a brain for that. And I think as well, like, you learn a lot about like how you are in crisis mode, because like things do go wrong in businesses. They do go wrong. They absolutely do. You cannot foresee everything. And there will be things that go wrong, and it's how you react to that and how you adapt. And because that's the only way that you're ever going to grow a business, is when things go wrong, and learning how to make sure they don't go wrong again.
That's one of the things that happens to us in the Property Girls quite a lot. Normally crisis mode hits at 11 o'clock when somebody's heating's not working or something. But yeah, you have to a lot of firefighting at times in this business, but Yeah, that's crisis mode, definitely. That's another one.
But I think you learn from the failures more than you
Absolutely.
learn from the successes, don't you?
Yeah.
I think in all aspects of life,
Mhm.
in absolutely all aspects of life, I don't think if life's going really good, people don't want to change things, because why would you? Because life's fine. But it's when you hit the ground and you just need to be like, right, where is this going? Where is my life going? And some of my hardest times have been, I'm now thankful for them, because they've made me kind of move into this journey that I feel like I'm meant to be on. I'm meant to be on this journey. And if it works out, amazing. If it doesn't work out, I'll learn from it. So I think having that kind of mindset in business is needed. It doesn't need to be, oh my God, what if it goes wrong? And that used to be me. Oh, if it goes wrong, what if it goes wrong? Well, if it goes wrong, I'll change it. It's fine. And business teaches you that.
Absolutely. And the thought that I'm having now is like when you went back to saying that the business has chosen its path. So it's like you've had to pivot
Yeah.
from where you thought you were going, because actually that's the right path to take. So having that flexibility.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
I think another thing as well, like that we've all like all of our businesses has gone through is like in the early days, like you're very much willing to just take on any customer because a customer is a customer and that's great. But you do tend to find like you hit a point where you're like, no, this is not the kind of customer I want to have on board. This is the kind of person I want to have on board. This is the kind of person I want to work with. And once you hit that point where you can be choosy about who you work with, like you take so much power back into your own business. Definitely, that is so powerful when the first time you ever say to somebody, do you know what, no, I don't actually want to work with you, this is not a positive relationship.
Caitlin and I incorporated that right from day one, where we're like, we're not having minimum term contracts, because that was from previous jobs I'd been in. If you're in a contract with somebody for a year, and say after 3 months they want out, and then you need to stay with them for 9 months, just with that negativity. And we always thought, like, with the property girls, it's not fun all the time, but 80% of the time it's fun. And it needs to be, you need to be content in your job, but having the thought of working so closely with somebody and not there being any kind of negativity in it, it really affects me as well. So that's one of the things that we'd set early on, wasn't it, Caitlin, that we're not having contracts. So if people don't want to stay with our service, then
So yeah,
oh, and that really helps build a trust as well, doesn't it? With
yeah, we are so fortunate to have like really amazing relationships with all of our property owners. Like they are almost like I would say they're pretty much friends with us. Like if there's something that they need to ask us, they know they can just come to us at any time. Like we're here to help them, and likewise most of them are there to help us as well if we need things and if we have questions. Like we have really fantastic relationships with these hosts, and I don't think the property girls would be the same without that. Definitely not.
I love the not having a contract, really, because as long as your customer is getting value and is pleased with the service that you're getting, then they will stay with you.
exactly.
And
That was one of that. I think that was when I thought about doing this on my own, I don't want negativity in my life. There's been so much of it in the past that I just don't need it now. And I think your work affects all aspects of your life, doesn't it? It does, especially in the game, like in the property market with holiday lets, because we've got to be contactable all the time. Weekends, like Friday night, I was out for my tea, had to leave because the heating broke. Like that's just what happens in this business. But when that is frustrating, I'm not going to lie, like, oh, the heating. But to add more negativity into that, or if like a landlord's basically not happy with our service and stuck there, it would just build resentment, and we don't need that. We don't want that in our business. And other than one of our landlords selling his property, we've not had anybody leave us.
No.
So it's working so far, and when it doesn't work, we'll change it. But
I think as well, like we also are really fortunate that we now have like really positive relationships with the local tradesmen. So like we have that total dependability on like if we need a plumber, if we need a joiner, if we need an electrician, like we have these relationships now, and they like it's great because you're kind of giving back to your local community, like you're working with local groups, local guys. Like we've got one of our plumbers is just a young guy, just started up on like his own business, and we're working with him to grow that. And then we've got loads of people that we can bring in and rely on and work with other businesses, which is great as well, because you just build that network, and yeah, it's lovely. Good.
Brilliant. So who's been your biggest supporters on your journey?
Weirdly,
Each
it's
other.
yeah, definitely. Definitely. It's actually been great watching Caitlin's confidence grow. She said, who's been our biggest supporters? I think my networking group have been great. Like I just feel like they give me the belief in myself. I wouldn't probably be where I am without them. So yeah, for me it would definitely be them. My family as well have been great. However, my dad had a business when I was younger. I never ever wanted a business. I couldn't understand why anybody would want a business. My dad was so stressed in it. I think he ended up getting a really strange form of cancer a few years ago, and he died. But even after then, I was like, I was so angry at his business, because that's probably why he died so prematurely. But now, accidentally having two businesses, I feel like I'm quite spiritual these days. He's probably guiding me in these paths to make sure that I've not got these stresses that he did. But there maybe wasn't the same opportunities or whatever. But yeah, that's definitely been my biggest supporters anyway. And yeah, each other. Caitlin's right.
Yeah, I think we get a lot of support, like within the community, like our hosts, like our owners as well, are always shouting about us. Like if
Yeah.
they ever see, like a lot of them go to, if they're at different events or webinars, like they're always shouting about us and how much they get on with us and how helpful it is to them, like, which I think speaks volumes, like
Yeah,
for itself.
I'm going to a wine tasting thing with one of our hosts, which I'm like, yeah, the social butterfly in me. Okay. So yeah, no,
Yeah.
you're totally right. The host as well.
Yeah, and yeah, we're definitely surrounded by a network of people that are constantly giving us like new ideas and like all these different relationships that we can form with people in the community and things like that. Like we're dead lucky in a way. Like I think that because we are based in Blairgowrie, like it's a very close-knit community, which can have its positive and its negatives. But I definitely think we've seen the positive side of it for this for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like there's lots more than just professional relationships. You know, it's personal relationships. It's there's it's all connected. Is that right?
Definitely.
Yeah. So what does the future hold? What are the big goals for the Property Girls?
Are we allowed to say? So we've been obviously women in business. We're looking at how we scale our business, how we scale it. So what we're doing next month is Caitlin and I are starting our journey moving into the letting side, not just holiday let management, but letting side. We also, other than the no contracts, we made a contract with between ourselves, an agreement between ourselves when we started Property Girls, that we would take on no properties that weren't more than a 25-minute drive, just for unforeseen. So we're like we've never really moved that boundary, and we won't move that boundary. But for lettings, that's kind of where we're going to next. We're going to go down the letting side, and we're both going to do the qualifications. So yeah, we're so excited about that actually.
Definitely.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. We put that boundary in very early on because we wanted to offer this like boots on the ground service. Like we want to be able to go out to the properties, view the properties, know the ins and outs, ups and downs of them. And then as well with that, because for most of our, I think for all of our holiday lets, Custom Cleans does the cleaning, which offers like so many benefits. Like you know the place is going to be clean to a really high standard. You know it instantly if stuff is broken, if stuff is missing, if there's been issues with the guests. Like that's a huge upside. So yeah, and we are more than happy like to grow the Property Girls, but only within that immediate vicinity. Like it could be something that maybe this is like 5-10 year scale, that like if we had property managers based elsewhere that could also give that same boots on the ground service, that might be something that we look into.
So that's franchising it, really.
Because we know this works. We know what we do works.
We're based heavily as well, and just like on reviews.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things in the holiday market that even our landlords are like, one of our landlords said the other day, I will be gutted if we get a negative review. And we're like, it will happen at one point potentially. But because I'm so, at the minute, the team that custom cleans, like my other business has got custom cleans, they're amazing. And they've got a vested interest in that. So I know when they go into the holiday lets to clean them, that we don't need to go and check them after. Like we've never really been marked, in fact, we've never been marked down with cleaning. And that's a massive part of the holiday let business. But just now we're very lucky that the two custom cleans and the Property Girls work so well together. So it's been fun.
It's brilliant. That's really nice to talk to you both. You've got such an energy and a passion about what you're doing and how you're doing it, which is, I think the how you're doing it is what sets you apart, isn't it? You know, being really specific on what you're going to do and how it's going to happen. So yeah, I'm following closely with yeah, really excited to see how this grows for you both.
Oh, we are really excited too.
Yeah. So I'm aware that it is the Thursday before Easter weekend, and there are lots of holiday lets to be prepared. So I just thank you both for being on the Scale Her Up podcast, and wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much for
Thank you.
inviting us, Brenda.